Hello everyone, this is Fine from Tech Gaming Villa. Today I'm going to talk about the 2TB LG C2 and the Sony Bravia A80K. The LG OLED panels are famed from their fast pixel response time, great color accuracy and outstanding contrast, but have historically achieved these highs at the cost of brightness. LG has designed a way to let the C2 get brighter while also keeping the risk of burning low by changing how it sinks the heat and that brightness requires away from the display itself. Pixels wears out. The hotter and brighter you run these pixels, the faster this happens. LG may have a problem on the LG C2. It's not going to blow you away with brightness, but this year's OLED is more capable of battling ambient light, and I was able to comfortably game on it. You see, the Forza Horizon 5 looks beautiful, deep color and contrast. It still has some significant glare issues though. An issue I had with the LG C1 as well. The brightness boost helps the TV better display HDR content, and the magic LG's engineer pulled off here deserves some praise. The LG C2 is capable of being quite color accurate, even to the degree professional colorists could use it as a monitor. It doesn't arrive like that out of the box, since most people aren't going to calibrate their TVs and even fewer are going to shell out for professional calibration. Only looking at what you can expect the TV to do directly from the factory. Thus, LG C2 nails 100% of sRGB, 88.8% of Adobe RGB, and 96% of the DCI-P3 color gammers with a delta E average of 3.33. Honestly, I was pretty surprised how poor the color accuracy of this panel is out of the box, considering how good OLED can be. To me, the white balance felt the most off, which luckily is one of the easiest things to fix. It's just disappointing that it's not better directly from LG, since very few people will take the time to fix it. If you do, though, other reviewers have managed to get it calibrated to a delta E of less than 1. I do want to point out that the average person isn't going to notice any problems with the color unless it is sitting side by side with a different television or another C2 that has been color calibrated. A delta E of less than 4 is just fine, and most people can't see the difference unless it exceeds 6. So while I wish it was better, the LG C2's out-of-the-box performance is acceptable. Looking at the panel's uniformity, it's pretty consistent and received either nominal or recommended tolerance across the whole display, which is great to see. OLEDs can achieve perfect black levels thanks to the ability to not just dim pixels, but outright turn them off. That means that deep, rich blacks are achieved here, and that contrast with the brights makes the TV just a joy to watch movies and enjoy HDR gaming on. I love this panel, and LG went the extra mile to make it just a bit brighter to boot, which I can only applaud. Let's talk about LG C2 gaming performance. You see, Forza Horizon 5 looks smooth since very little has changed from last year, and the bar was already so high. It should come as no surprise that this television works outstandingly for gaming. I was treated to a spectacular visual experience on this LG G2. The game optimizer lets you set different black levels depending on what kind of content you are playing. I might not want those deep, rich, inky blacks in Forza Horizon 5 competitive crucial mode or in Deep Rock Galactic, for example, but will want them present to truly soak in the visual spectacle of Horizon Forbidden West with the LG C2. I can set those preferences in the optimizer and swap to different presets depending on the game. As expected, response time feels outstanding and smooth, especially in competitive player versus player content like Forza Horizon 5. LG C2 supports auto low latency mode, variable refresh rate, G-Sync and AMD FreeSync through any of its 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. As such, it is capable of providing 120Hz inputs to a PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X all at the same time, leaving the ER port available for a sound system or a Nintendo Switch. LG has a kind of AI sound upscaler that you can enable when you first set up the television. If you are not planning to use headphones or a sound system of any kind, I do recommend you enable it because it does significantly improve sound quality. Don't get too excited though, because the physics of this slim television restrict the audio from getting anywhere close to what I would call good. It's serviceable and certainly capable of getting loud, but the low end is all but absent and the mids and highs can become muddled. For those who want an audio experience what is on par with the visual spectacle that LG C2 is capable of presenting, you are going to want to either wear a nice pair of headphones or pick up a soundbar or sound system. This TV actually isn't capable of great sound on its own. The Samsung S95B is the closest thing to a true competitor that LG has experienced in a very long time, though it's pricey at $2,800 for a 65-inch display. But compared to the $2,300 65-inch LG C2, it's close enough that buyers may consider opting for Samsung's very impressive new tech. Honestly though, the biggest competition to the LG C2 comes in the form of last year's LG C1. I hardly noticed the extra brightness in this year's model and only saw it because I recently see the LG C2 also good. On the other hand, if we see the Sony Bravia A80K, the benefits of OLED technology are well known and it results in higher light control and precision and the ability to turn off completely its pixel means that you can get totally black levels, which is really as good as it gets and really elevates the image quality tenfold compared to what I see in most LED LCD panels. Because there is no backlight, the A80K has no problems like blooming that creates bright controls around bright objects when seen in dark backgrounds, and also its image quality is not dependent on how many zones the backlight has, as all full array local dimming and mini LED LCD TVs do. So in this regard, all OLED panels behave the same. But as with everything, OLED has a few shortcomings. The first one is that all OLED TVs, due to the technology involved, cannot be as bright as LCD TVs can. And this is the reason why QD OLED was invented. In the early years, there were small advancements in this, but the last few yearly releases seem to have reached their full potential. And the second shortcoming is that OLED technology is more prone to permanent burning. I've seen manufacturers adding special features to combat this, but nevertheless, OLED has slightly increased risk of burning due to the use of organic materials and should be handled with care. But the reality is that the last couple of years, OLED TVs have become very burn-in proof with all the safeties that manufacturers have added into them. The A80K did perfect on blooming test, as you should expect from an OLED TV. Being able to see a bright object in this A80K in a completely dark background and don't have any blooming on site is a real treat and shows the strength of OLED even after so many years in the market. Nothing more can be said here. If blooming is your number one problem, OLED is your only way to go, and the A80K does perfect in this regard. Onto the brightness section, A80K has some modes like Expert 1 mode color tone and brightness set to max. In this HDR brightness over a 10% white window, it shows 467 nits, which is good enough for HDR content, but nothing spectacular to talk about. The HDR brightness on Expert 2 color tone settings, 10% white window, it gets 682 nits. As for contrast, having an OLED panels means that the A80K can switch off its pixels entirely, meaning it gains almost infinity contrast ratio, resulting in true deep blacks compared to grayish blacks. But if you see the LG C2 looks more beautiful than A80K, I will say. The viewing angles of A80K could not be any different. OLED is the best technology in this regard, and no matter what kind of advancements they have done, LED LCD technology will never get so good as this. In terms of performance, the A80K behaves similar to all other OLED equipped TVs. So I will say LG C2 and A80K both are same in this section. A80K features the standard trio of HDR protocols that include the basic HDR10, which is required for 4K Ultra HD playback, HLG that is used in broadcasting, and lastly the more advanced Dolby Vision that uses dynamic metadata and offers the best quality from the three available. If you don't care about HDR10 Plus, then you shouldn't really worry about it. Dolby Vision has far more support, although HDR10 Plus seems to be getting some traction both from online streaming services like Amazon Prime and in the Ultra HD format. The A80K, as with some other premium Sony TVs, is equipped with certain tech in order to allow it to display deeper and more lifelike colors. As such, Sony has used an XR Triluminous Pro display in combination with XR color technology, which is included in their XR picture suite. This is the same tech that is included in all premium TVs that come with the Cognitive processor XR and the XR picture suite. According to this 80K TV has about 99% coverage of the DCI P3 color space, which is almost perfect. On the wider Recon 2020 color space, 75% it will cover, which is still very good and results in very lifelike and accurate colors. The numbers are a bit better than the 80J. So I will say both LG C2 and 80K are very beautiful and perfect for gaming. So what do you think? Please write in the comments below. So that's it from now. If you like this video, please subscribe and press the bell icon for future notifications update. Thanks for watching.
To change your